Hello, Gemini. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. All right, Gemini, interesting. It's interesting. So from Le Vampire, you pulled compassion, empathy, simpatico, and kindness. But then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled wisdom. Now, with compassion, like I've said before with this one, this is somebody unexpected coming through that is showing you compassion that you thought would never have that kind of sympathy for you and what you're going through. Now, you can definitely turn it around and say that, this is you coming through and catching someone else. But when you're looking at wisdom, this one is really about seeking wise counsel and then ignoring it. But, it makes me think that maybe some of you are like really changing your minds here about a person coming through, somebody that you didn't expect that would give a shit about what you're going through here. All right, Gemini, here we go. Here's your overall for the week. The Six of Pentacles. Okay. So, again, with the Oracle cards, right? Like, are you open to receiving assistance, or is this somebody that you really do not want assistance from? Now, with the Six of Pentacles, right? Giving and receiving. For some of you, you may be receiving money, you may be giving it, but it doesn't have to be money, though. But, right, the equal give and take on a situation, though, too. Now, in the past, oh boy, the Knight of Cups. And this is just me. I'm biased when it comes to this, because you're talking about the Knight of Cups. Anything having to do with emotion, I'm like, yes, right? What's the point of doing something if you're not feeling it? But I have issues with him. It bothers me. The Knight of Cups is the messenger of love and romance. This is somebody who is offering their cup to you. Now this could be you doing this though too, but I think that this is something else coming through for you. Now, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could just be an offer coming through. The problem that I have with the Knight of Cups is that feelings change all the time. And he kind of goes wherever he's going to get that, emotional fulfillment. But we'll see. Oh boy, the present, the Wheel of Fortune, or the Wheel of the Year. So, this may be a good thing, right? With the Wheel of Fortune, destiny, fate, the turning of the wheel and good things happening this time. But repeating cycles is what comes up for me every time I see the wheel. Now, it's not a bad thing. It's just that, even if it is like in the reverse, it's just saying that it's not the right time. But looking at the Knight of Cups above it as the past coming through, I think that maybe the time might be right here. Or this could just be something that you've dealt with before that's coming back through in a different way. But we'll see. We'll see. Like, I'm waiting to see what's in your environment before I call this. Oh, God damn it. Why? Why? Future conditions, the Five of Cups. Oh. What I worry about for some of you, you may have given to a situation that came through. And I worry that maybe it like repeated itself for you instead of it being a new thing and a better thing. When you're looking at the Five of Cups, you're talking about emotional pain and disappointment. Now, for some of you though, it could be that this is still something that you're kind of dealing with and you may not be open to receiving this just yet, right? But it's almost like with the wheel, it's like, I don't know why I'm hearing this. It was meant to happen. It's meant to happen. But that bothers me with the Five of Cups, and again, it goes back to my issues here with the Knight of Cups. Okay. Your best path to follow, the Four of Wands. And to me, that's saying that there's a real possibility here for you to build stability, especially, with someone. And it doesn't have to be relationship and romantic here, but, right, you have this emotional stuff coming through. I mean, it could be about, work and money with the Six of Pentacles being there. But, when I see the Four of Wands, it's like When you're talking about the advice to you, it's like Spirit saying that there's going to be a reason to celebrate if you're willing to give to this situation here and possibly build something better. Not just, with someone else, but for yourself, though, too. But I don't like how you move into this disappointment. Now, like I said, it could be one of those things, though, where you're not open to, like, accepting anything just yet because you're still dealing with some disappointment. And it may be because of this Knight of Cups as the past coming through. Okay, yep. All right. In your environment, the Eight of Cups. I've had, several different discussions about this card. For this one, for me, is harder than looking at the Ten of Swords, because at least there it's over. But here, it's a question of whether or not you have the ability to walk away from something that is no longer emotionally fulfilling you. A lot of times, this will show up for people when it's like, I'm stuck. I'm not getting what I want from it, but I'm not ready to walk away yet because I don't know where I'm going or what's going to happen, right? Which is why I point out the moon in the background. But a lot of times these are situations where people are like dreading having to deal with it. It's like, oh man, this situation is just wearing me out. Why do I keep doing this? And the advice there is that you need to move on physically. That's why we say, with the Eight of Cups, moving on emotionally before you do physically. It means emotionally you've already done it. But physically, for whatever reason, it's like, can you? And again, anybody can tell you to walk away. But, like I've said before with this one, it's like sometimes we just need to stay with the bullshit until we figure it out, And then not only that, but needing to stay with something until you're okay with the fact that where you're going, you may not know what's going to happen. It's when you get that faith returned to you that it makes it easier for you to take a new path, an unknown path, right? Trusting in that unknown. And like I said, it's like, I think that for some of you, there may be like disappointment with a person. They may be coming back through here, especially with the Wheel of the Year. But like with the Eight of Cups, there are things that just like need to be left behind. And then you're still here with the Five of Cups where you're still focused on what's been lost. Wow, Gemini. Your hopes and your fears, the Page of Pentacles. Now, for you, this is really hoping that you can get this going here and get something started, based on the information that's coming through. Again, pages, messengers, right? When you're looking at the Page of Pentacles, this is somebody who is looking to apply what they have learned based on the information that came through and use it in a way to get something going and being able to put in the hard work and effort to make something a reality. So this is you hoping to get something going here, but in a better direction where there's like, stability, and it's looking at things in a practical sense. And the potential is there. Like it's there. This could be somebody new coming through, or this could be the same person that you've dealt with before, And again, right, like this doesn't have to do with relationships. It could be business partnerships. But I'm looking at it like, are you open? Are you open to giving or even receiving for that matter if you're still hanging on to things and, not allowing that wheel to turn because of this here. But then at the same time, it's like still hoping to get something going. But it's like disappointment may be stopping you. But again, there's real potential here. And then the outcome, Temperance. So basically to me, what that's saying is that you need a moment to get, that balance back, that equilibrium. And like I've said before, what that means with Temperance is tempering your heart with your mind, having both of them on like the same page. Not overthinking things and not being overly emotional, getting that nice even flow. And then of course, a Sag, right? Like guidance and wisdom. All right. Now, I think for some of you, you may have felt like you were ready to do this. And you're definitely carrying, the feeling here of that inner strength and that courage, especially when we're talking about you needing to have faith in the unknown and walking away from the things that are dragging you down. But the shadow side, that is the devil in this deck. You're talking about letting something have control over you in your life and the decisions that you make. And it's because of disappointments that you're still focused on. You may have a real opportunity coming through here for something better, and there is potential to get it going. But the problem is that, whatever disappointment you're looking at here or hurt emotional feelings, it's like it has the potential here to stop you. And that may be why instead of, just opening up to receiving something right now, you need to be here, right? Especially with the devil being there or the shadow side. Wow, Gemini, you have the strength though. You have the strength and the courage to do this. It's just these two that bother me. Because you may have something, pretty good coming through, but I don't know that you're open to receiving it just yet. I think that, you definitely have the potential to make it work for you. And again, Spirit saying yes, but there is something that you may already be involved with. And it's just going to continue to disappoint you, and before you can open up here to something new and better and being able to work at it, it's like you can't let this have control over you anymore. Wow. And it makes sense now looking at compassion and wisdom, something unexpected coming through, those strong arms that are catching you through emotional pain, but you may not be ready to accept it. It's like with wisdom, and you understand, but at the same time, I think you're ignoring it. But, again, when you're looking at this, it's not that easy, right? All right, let's take a look at your love lives. Okay, the Five of Swords, and that makes sense to me. All right. Now, for those of you who are single, right, you may have recently gone through a separation, possibly with an earth sign. Now, this could be male or female, being a general reading, but the personality is what I'm looking at. So the Queen of Pentacles, she is more focused on, I think, her own material gain than she is a relationship right now. And that may be the reason why there is a separation. Now, like I said, this could be you or the other person here. Whatever, is happening in terms of someone's personality, but that may be the reason why you're not together. Now, for some of you, you may be seeing yourself as single, though, because somebody is not with you due to work, which is another possibility. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, when you're looking at the Five of Swords in this deck is about overcoming feelings of inadequacy. So overcoming these feelings of not being good enough, maybe self-image problems, it's all about overcoming that now and getting involved in the relationship. And here you're calling in your soulmate to kind of help you with that, especially if there were difficulties in terms of the relationship. And now you guys are like coming back together here and getting over that. I don't see the Five of Swords as a bad thing. It just points to the fact that, before you get to this point, you've had, those problems, those self-image problems here and feeling like you weren't good enough for your partner or them you. But, it's not bad. I have seen worse. But I would be careful here, Gemini, with the shadow side showing up and looking at the Five of Cups. I mean, it makes sense to me. You definitely have the inner strength to get over this. But you need to have faith that when you walk away from what isn't, fulfilling you anymore, that things are going to get better. Faith in the unknown, but definitely needing to take some time here, especially with Temperance, to try to get like your balance back. All right, Gemini, so I do think that some of you are not ready to receive something just yet. And I do think that what is coming through, I think you've been through before, But I also feel like this is something new, though, too, with the Knight of Cups coming through here and then looking at the Wheel of Fortune. But the problem is that you're still involved in something that is no longer fulfilling you. And you're still dealing with the emotions that are surrounding it here. Now, as far as like compassion and wisdom, it's almost like, okay, that's great that you're coming through, but my wisdom is telling me that I'm not ready for this, or you may be ignoring what this person is trying to offer you or help you out with. Now, and I understand though, because of the way the shadow side came out on this. Now, again, there's a need for you to just, have faith here as far as walking away from the things that are continuously disappointing you, even though you may not know what's going to happen next. That's where the Fool kind of comes through. And I think at one point it's like you're ready and you have the inner strength to do this, but the problem is you need to tap into that, because the shadow side or the devil here is still an issue. This is really about, the things that you allow to have control over you. And what you're looking at here is disappointment and dissatisfaction. And again, emotional difficulty here. But I do think that there is real potential here for you to get this going in a way that, you're going to see some actual results. With the Four of Wands being there, the potential is absolutely there. And I think that you can do this. But it's really about the emotional things that you're dealing with right now that need to be cleared up. Now, as far as relationships go, separation. Now, like I said, some of you may be looking at yourself as single because your partner is working, right? Which is possible here. Now, some of you went through a separation because, like I said, with the Queen of Pentacles, right, if you're male or female, it doesn't matter here. But I think it's because either you or the other person was more focused on your career, right? Your own independence, and that's one of the things that I say about the Queen of Pentacles is she doesn't need anybody. She doesn't need that man. She knows how to satisfy herself, right? But one of the things that I talk about when it comes to separation here, I'm like trying to pull the positive out of this. It could just be what it is, but there's somebody here that's not really wanting to let go. So there may be a potential here for, there to be like a coming back together, possibly. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, calling in your soulmate, things are starting to change here, because I'm telling you, with the Five of Swords, this is about overcoming inadequacies. That's what that is. Definitely there was difficulties before with the Five of Swords, but you're overcoming that now. The Seven of Wands looks very similar to this one, but the Seven of Wands is different, where that's more about like overcoming doubts and like not inadequacies so much, but like, suspicions as far as a relationship goes. This is about self-image issues and overcoming that. And it's like you and your soulmate are like coming together now, where there may have been difficulties, which it's a good thing. But like I said, Gemini, looking at this, I can understand why you need to take some time here to get your balance back before you're open to receiving anything. But don't completely shut out somebody who may be trying to show you some compassion.